Okay, so got about 40 minutes. 40 minutes till enlightenment. Yeah. till stage 1 of enlightenment. Stage 2 is next month.
Last question: what keeps the feeling of separate me looking at the world so strong? What is it? So the question is, what keeps the illusion of separate me looking at the world so strong?
That question. Well, the point is there isn't a separate me looking at the world. We should probably explain to the people at home what happened then. No, actually, let's not keep them in suspense. But you know, some people say, well, you know, there's no one. I see that there's no one here, and it's all oneness. But it still it feels like there's someone here. There's still this sense that there's someone here. So then, what people try and do, that they try and get rid of that sense. They think, well, there must be something wrong because there's still a sense that there's someone here. You know, but even if there is a sense that there's someone there, what's wrong with a sense? You know, there's a sense that someone there, but there's no one there. That's how it works. No one is having a sense. No one is doing that sense. No one is creating the sense that there's someone there. So again, that's yeah. Sometimes people come to the meetings. They say, "Yeah, Jeff, there's still a sense that there's someone here." If you listen to that, if you just look at that question, there's still a sense that there's someone here. Yeah. There's still implying what? Yeah, still. Yeah. Hopefully.
Is there any seeking for you at all?
Well, it depends what you mean by seeking. I mean, obviously they're still functioning in the world, and there's still, you know, if I'm hungry, I'll go and seek a good restaurant in the Midtown area. But in terms of seeking enlightenment or seeking stuff that's not possible to find, that doesn't happen anymore. Obviously. But the end of seeking isn't really the end of anything, actually. So the end of seeking doesn't mean that you stop being fascinated by life. So it doesn't mean that you in a way I'm more fascinated than ever by life, you know, and more able just to explore and just to have different experiences, and because I know it can't, none of it can threaten what I am. So in a way, it's in a way the end of seeking is the beginning of living, the beginning of really living. You know, living without the hope of some better future, or some living without the hope of enlightenment, without the hope, because it's the hope that kills you in the end. But it's beyond hopelessness as well, because it's not that hope goes and then you're left with hopelessness. Because when you're hopeless, you're still hoping. You've just given up. So hopelessness is just a giving up on hope. So it's not even that. It's beyond that. It's just and it doesn't mean that, so it doesn't mean that fascination stops. And I mean, life is fascinating. It's totally fascinating. It's a complete mystery. And what's left but to just explore it and to but the questions just aren't there anymore. The questions are, how do I become this? How do I become that? How do I get rid of this? It's just those questions aren't there anymore. That's all. But I mean, there are some very useful questions like how do I get to the airport, and how do I learn Spanish, or even how are you feeling? Tell me how you're feeling, or how there's still that fascination. In a way, it's like just a total engagement with life. It's because actually in the seeking, in a way we become kind of disengaged with what's actually happening in front of us, because it doesn't matter so much, because one day we're going to get enlightened, and this is kind of wasn't. But when it's seen that this is all there is, then every moment becomes quite precious, really. So this could be the last time I ever speak to anyone. I don't know, seriously. I don't live in illusions anymore. But who knows? I might not have tomorrow. But we have this. You see, this is where we live. This is where we live. This is life. So it's because before it was before, when I was desperately seeking enlightenment, it would be, oh well, sitting on a chair is nothing. One day I'm going to be an enlightened person sitting on this chair. But, so it's just a relief now just to be able to sit on the chair. And it doesn't mean that I mean, it's a hard question to answer. Is there seeking? It's a hard question. Well, I can say I'm not. It's like seeking has been replaced by fascination. Yeah. Have you got the microphone?
I got one over here.
Oh, okay.
The subject of unconditional love came up earlier, and I'd just like to share some of my thoughts. When I just showed up in the world, my parents gave me unconditional love. I didn't earn it. I didn't do anything. I didn't deserve it. I got it. But there was something kind of sublime about that, so that maybe I walk this planet feeling a little differently than other people. I've been fortunate also that I'm married, and I have a wife that gives me a great deal of love. And this, of course, begets another question, which you raised earlier, which is, where does anybody find unconditional love as an adult? And the answer I often give myself is, that's something that I need to give myself. I can't look out there for unconditional love. So that in the course of my life, I remember I did a workshop, and the workshop leader said, I love all of you. And I balked at that and raised my hand. I said, you love me? Does that mean you're going to take me out for dinner and pick up the check? Does that mean we're going to go out afterward? You're going to invite me home? We're going to have sex? I don't get that I love you. I said, listen, I live with me, and I'm not crazy about me all the time, but you love me. So By the way, you mentioned earlier that you got in trouble when you used the term old woman. I
Old
think
lady.
you said old lady. I my attitude is if you're younger than I am, and I'm 72 now, you're young. If you're older than I am, you're wise. So that's my. So getting back to unconditional love, uh, this journey, this exploration is to find out what's inside of us, what we're looking for, and finding this pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is a search that I think without realizing it, I wasn't looking for it, but I found an internal guidance system. I don't know how, I wasn't taught this, but at some point in my life, I wasn't sure what career I wanted. And I didn't want to be a fireman, a lawyer, a doctor. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I had to support myself. I got into teaching. It worked out splendidly for me. I didn't realize I had an aptitude for it. In the same way, I didn't know if I'd be single or married. I didn't know if I could trust my heart with somebody else. And it worked out also. I found a woman. It's been working out so far. We're going to celebrate our 36th anniversary this week. So I don't know how I did it. But the one thing that I have discerned over the years is that I've tapped into my heart. And I find that I have a guidance system which is always right on. And I can't always access it. But when I do, I don't have to second guess myself. So I'm able to find that suddenly in the course of my life, my process, I've learned to respect myself, and I can tap into this guidance system and find this unconditional love, which I can not only shower on myself, but to those people who happen to be, under my umbrella, so to speak, the people who come into my life. So what would you like to say about unconditional love?
I knew that was coming. Oh dear. Oh. Yeah, what can I say to that? That's the journey, isn't it? We seek unconditional love, and rediscover it here. And even the one who is seeking unconditional love and in the moment is failing to find it. The one who fails to be loved unconditionally, the one who has failed to find unconditional love in the moment, the one who is failing to love unconditionally, because that's the mirror as well. That one is loved unconditionally. The one who is seeking unconditional love but can't find it is already unconditionally loved. And in that rediscovery, like to use the Christian mythology language, your sin is forgiven. It's the same thing as saying that. If sin means not seeing, in the rediscovery of unconditional love, sin is forgiven. The word for forgiveness, to forgive. And it's a beautiful word, actually. Not many people know this, but the word forgive, it literally means to give everything. So if you are forgiven, you are given everything. That's what it literally means. So in this moment, Are you not given everything? Now, have you not already been forgiven? Like we try desperately, we're trying desperately to forgive others, to forgive ourselves. And actually, you are forgiven. You are already forgiven. You already have been forgiven in your inability to forgive, in your inability to forgive yourself, in your inability to forgive others, in your inability to love yourself, and your inability to love others. You are forgiven. You are given all. You are given everything. Because in the end, you are everything. You are not. There is no one here separate from everything. That's the forgiveness. So the one who seeks unconditional love is forgiven. The one who seeks unconditional love is given everything. Even in the midst of their seeking. In the midst of your seeking, you are forgiven. So you don't have to get rid of seeking. So the end of seeking is unconditional love, is forgiveness, is love, is beauty. In the end, it doesn't matter what you call it. So the seeker doesn't find what they're looking for. The seeker is forgiven. I'm forgiven. It's okay.
Zen, wake up.
Have you got the microphone?
This is a question, very hypothetical and in a way tangential. However, I'd be interested in how you might address it. And it's so in this appearance of life, there's an appearance of evolution. And in this appearance of evolution, we're all smart monkeys, and you're a very smart monkey. So as we imagine this appearance going on, we can imagine there being other more advanced, or the appearance of more advanced creatures. And do you ever think in terms of that kind of complex of of what your immediate perception of reality is as compared to what the reality of a chimpanzee and and
Jeff,
and
how
the
are you different from a
reality of
chimpanzee?
what?
Oh, I've been asked some strange questions in my time, but that.
Well, another way of putting it is we know, or we have the sense that at any one moment we are at one sort of slice of perception of reality.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that one could imagine in earlier forms of life there would be a different perception of reality. The fact that you can, as you say, see or have this seeing or is an ability that you could imagine some earlier creature not having and some later creature having of a different kind.
So this is the same seeing that happens in a chimpanzee. It's just that in humans, what's apparently evolved is the capacity for abstract thought. That's where it all begins. Because we can think abstractly, we can think of ourselves as a self in time. We can think of ourselves as a seeker on a journey towards some destination. We can, you don't see a chimpanzee sitting in therapy for 50 years, working on their childhood issues. You don't see a chimpanzee looking for enlightenment. So it's the same seeing, the same hearing. That hasn't changed. What apparently has evolved is this capacity for abstract thought. So it's been overlaid. The seeing has been overlaid with duality, basically. We can abstract, as human beings, we can abstract ourselves from our physical bodies. I can think of myself as a self in time, a self who was born, a self who will die, a self on a journey, changing, evolving. So that appears to be what has happened in humans. So we can divide our experience. That's where human suffering begins, is the division of experience. I was saying before, we can divide pain from no pain, or sad. So it makes sense as it makes sense with physical pain. For an organism that has physical pain, it makes sense to want to get rid of it. And it makes sense that this physical pain signifies a danger. This physical pain means that there's some sort of danger to the body, so I should probably try and get rid of it as quickly as possible. And that's useful for physical pain, but what we've done in humans, because we live in this abstract world, we apply that same mentality to anything we consider to be pain. So it's sadness, anger, fear. So it's like fear appears. So a chimpanzee, when fear appears in a chimpanzee, it doesn't say to itself, "Damn, I'm not being spiritual enough," or once I become enlightened, this fear, this fear won't be here. There's just fear appearing. But in humans, because we live in this abstract world, because we can divide experience, we split, and we have the concept of fear, and the concept of no fear, the concept of absence of fear. This is all the conditioning and all the, so now that this doesn't appear to be something that animals, as far as we know, can do. Maybe they do it in a little way, but not nearly to the extent that humans do it. We can probably say that. So and in the end, I don't really know about chimpanzees. I'm kind of more interested in humans. If I was a chimpanzee, I would probably do chimpanzee meetings. I don't know. But this seeing I'm talking about, it's not an evolved seeing. It's the same seeing. It's not a new kind of seeing. It's a very old kind of seeing.
But is it a seeing that you would imagine would evolve? Is it a seeing you would imagine would evolve?
Where would it evolve to?
To whatever comes after us.
It's I don't know. We could sit here and theorize about it. I'm not so much interested in theorizing about what came before or what will come afterwards. Because in a way, in present seeing, before the story that you're a human being, who has evolved, you have no way of knowing that the seeing is evolved in any way or will evolve. Or you see, it goes beyond that. You have to tell the story that you're a human being first. Then you have to tell the story of evolution. Nothing wrong with any of those stories, of course, but I think what I'm pointing to goes beyond those stories. If that makes any sense. Never been called a very clever chimpanzee before. I'd rather be called that than an enlightened person. Really.
A lot of different teachings talk about perception and reality, and some say that life is a projection, and some, say that it's about taking in. I'm curious how you see it. Is there what is reality? There's no way to ask that question without sounding absolutely crazy. But
10 minutes to go.
yeah.
And someone asked me the question, what is reality?
Start with the footnotes.
I'll buy you a drink later too.
Oh, was that the question? That was.
Yeah, like some
Yeah.
some say that life is a dream, right? It's a projection of the individual and their perception. And on some level, they're saying that there is no actual substance to reality. It's just a projection of one's perception, one's mind. And this is obviously not landing in reality. I can get that. I mean, there is light bouncing off and this kind of thing, but when you say life, right? You're pointing to
what's happening.
What's happening?
Reality is what's happening.
Reality is what's happening.
That's it.
Okay. When the dreamer, when the individual's
This is easy.
Yeah, there you go. See, we only need 2 minutes. When the individual opens their eyes, or the person opens their eyes, there's do you see it as a coming in of they're perceiving what was there already before they arrived? No.
Mm-mm. No, the world begins and ends with you. I mean, the world. Think of deep dreamless sleep at night. There's absolutely nothing, and there's not even the experience of nothing. There's not even anyone there to call it nothing. So it's beyond even nothing. And in the morning, it's like the world appears and you appear along with it. The world and you are reflections of each other. You and the world always appear together and dissolve together. That's all you can know. The rest is more concepts which appear within your world. Anything you say is within your world. Even any idea you have of what's beyond your world is within your world. You can't get around it. So in the end, it's about the not knowing. It's the mystery. This is I don't know anything about this. I mean, I talk a lot, but really, what all these words are. If you listen to really what I'm saying, all the words are just pointing back to that not knowing. I don't actually ever answer questions. People think I answer questions. I don't. I always the questions in a way the questions are always the wrong questions. And the real answer is that when the questions fall away. And what is reality? Whatever reality is, it's there in the asking of the question. So you can't, in order to know reality, you'd have to somehow separate yourself from reality to have some sort of idea. You have to somehow get behind reality to know something about reality. On some level, you'd have to get behind life to know about life. You'd have to get behind life to say what life is. But what I'm pointing to is that you have no way of separating yourself from life. No way. So the ocean, the wave can't understand the ocean. Because of course it's just going to be the ocean trying to understand itself. So the separate wave asks, what is reality? Or how do I become enlightened? Or how do I reach oneness or whatever? And the way that it's always the wrong question because it's the separate wave. The separate wave asks, what is reality? Whatever reality is, it's asking the question, what is reality? You have no way of getting behind.
I hear what you're saying.
There's a movie out there called Inception.
Oh yeah, Dream Within a... Yeah.
Again,
it's good.
Nature of reality. What's a dream and what's real? If you haven't seen it, go see it.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Really, my whole message is this: can it all just be a mystery? Because that's all it is to me. I don't. Can it just be a mystery? Can it be a total mystery? And then it's like, and can there be a falling in love with the mystery? Because in a way, that's what mystery is. Mystery is falling in love. Mystery is falling away of falling. Falling in love is the falling away of the seeker. So the question, what is reality, falls into mystery. And that's where we always are, actually. It's not that mystery, it's not a new mystery. It's not that it wasn't there before and it's not there now. It's always been there. So at some point you stop trying to understand the mystery. And that's the beauty of it. That's why it's a mystery. We're trying to understand something that fundamentally thought can't understand what is prior to thought. Any answer it would get would be more thought. So can it just be a mystery?
That makes sense, because if you understood it would end the mystery.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you would be left understanding everything and still not being in love.
The dream is thinking that we know anything.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we know is anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone at home. At home.